just getting over it with Bennett Foddy. Now I'm gonna try to beat my best time of 25 minutes and 40 some seconds, but I'm recording, so that's probably not gonna happen. This first tree is always a little bit annoying, but just swing around on it until I get over it.
There's no feeling more intense than starting over. If you deleted your homework the day before it was due, as I have, or if you left your wallet at home and you have to go back after spending an hour in the commute. If you won some money at the casino and then put all your winnings on red but it came up black.
Just poke away.
If you got your best shirt dry cleaned before a wedding and then immediately dropped food on it. If you won an argument with a friend and then later discovered that they just returned to their original view.
That was
Starting over is harder than starting up.
it's kind of hard to do.
If you're not ready for that, like if you've already had a bad day, then what you're about to go through might be too much. Feel free to go away and come back.
Get over
I'll
this
be
rock
here.
immediately, or else you won't be able to get it from the other ones.
Alright, thanks for coming with me on this trip. I'll understand if you have to take a break at any point.
You should be able
Just
to
find a safe place to stop and quit the game. Don't worry, I'll save your progress, always, even your mistakes.
Now this part should be pretty easy.
This game is a homage to a free game that came out in 2002, titled Sexy Hiking.
Now what a lot of people
The author of that game was Jazzuo, a mysterious Czech designer who was known at the time as the father of B games.
successfully like
And B games are rough assemblages of found objects.
the other one.
Designers slap them together very quickly and freely, and they're often too rough and unfriendly to gain much of a following. They're built more for the joy of building them than as polished products. In a certain way, Sexy Hiking is the perfect embodiment of a B game. It's built almost entirely out of found and recycled parts, and it's one of the most unusual and unfriendly games of its time. In it, your task is simply to drag yourself up a mountain with a hammer. And that act of climbing, in the digital world or in real life, has certain essential properties that give the game its flavor. No amount of forward progress is guaranteed. Some cliffs are too sheer or too slippery, and the player is constantly, unremittingly in danger of falling and losing
The
everything.
angrier you get at it, the harder it is.
Anyway, when you start Sexy Hiking, you're standing next to this dead tree that blocks the way to the entire rest of the game.
So just keep it
It might take you an hour to get over that
First
tree,
try it.
and a lot of people never got past it. You prod and you poke at it, exploring the limits of your reach and your strength, trying to find a way up and over. And there's a sense of truth in that lack of compromise. Most obstacles in video game worlds are fake. You can be completely confident in your ability to get through them once you have the correct method or the correct equipment or just by spending enough
this
time.
wall right
In
here.
that sense, every pixelated obstacle in Sexy Hiking is real. The obstacles in Sexy Hiking are unyielding,
Kind of harder to
and that makes the game uniquely frustrating. But I'm not sure Jazzuo intended to make a frustrating game. The frustration is just essential to the act of climbing, and it's authentic to the process of building a game about climbing. A funny thing happened to me as I was building this mountain.
here, and then right
I'd have an idea for a new obstacle, and I'd build it, test it, and it would usually turn out to be unreasonably hard. But I couldn't bring myself to make it easier. It already felt like my inability to get past the new obstacle was my fault as a player rather than as a builder. Imaginary mountains build themselves from our efforts to climb them, and it's our repeated attempts to reach the summit that turns those mountains into something
None of
real.
that stuff is hard.
When you're building a video game world, you're building with ideas, and that can be like working with quickset cement. You mold your ideas into a certain shape that can be played with, and in the process of playing with them, they begin to harden and set until they're immutable, like rock. And at that point, you can't change the world, not without breaking it into pieces and starting fresh with new ideas.
Just make sure to throw your hammer.
For years now, people have been predicting that games would soon be made out of prefabricated objects, bought in a store and assembled into a world. And for the most part, that hasn't happened, because the objects in the stores are trash.
Onto the chair.
I don't mean they look bad or that they're badly made, although a lot of them are.
Sit right on the edge of the chair.
I mean they're trash in the way that food becomes trash as soon as you put it in the sink. Things are made to be consumed and used in a certain context, and once the moment is gone, they transform into garbage.
Laying on the camera.
In the context of technology, those moments pass by in
Second
seconds.
couch on the shelf. It's not that hard.
Over time, we've poured more and more refuse into this vast digital landfill that we call the internet. It now vastly outnumbers and outweighs the things that are fresh and untainted and unused. When everything around us is cultural trash, trash becomes the new medium, the lingua franca of the digital age. You could build culture out of trash, but only trash culture. B games, B movies, B music, B philosophy.
Just trying to get through this.
Maybe this is what digital culture is. A monstrous mountain of trash, the ash heap of creativity's fountain. A landfill with everything we ever thought of in it. Grand, infinite, and unsorted. There's 3D models of breakfast, Gen X's fanfic novels, scan magazines, green screen Shia LaBeouf, banned snuff scenes on LiveLeak. Facebook's got lifelike bots with unbranded adverts and candid shots of Kanye and Taylor Swift mashups, car crash epic failed GIFs, Russian dashcam vids, discussions of McRibs, discarded, forgotten, unrecycled, muddled, rotten, untitled. Everything's fresh for about 6 seconds, until some newer thing beckons, and we hit refresh. And there's years of persevering, disappearing into the pile, out of style, out of sight.
Not on the edge of the table, but just kind of here. Now, I have to warn
In this
you,
context, it's tempting to make friendly content that's gentle, that lets you churn through it but not earn it. Why make something demanding if it just gets piled up in the landfill, filed in with the bland things?
In my opinion, Orange Hell is the hardest part of the game.
When games were new, they wanted a lot from you. Daunting you, taunting you, resetting and delaying you. Players played stoically. Now everyone's turned off by that. They want to burn through it quickly. A quick fix for the fickle. Some tricks for the clicks of the feckless. But that's not you. You're an acrobat. You could swallow a baseball bat.
Just burn through this real quick.
Now I know, most likely you're watching this on YouTube or Twitch, while some dude with 10 million views does it for you. Like a baby bird being fed chewed up food. That's culture too.
Try to land right at the top of this rock.
But on the off chance that you're playing this, what I'm saying is, trash is disposable, but maybe it doesn't have to be approachable. What's the feeling like? Are you stressed? I guess you don't hate it if you got this far, feeling frustrated. It's underrated.
You just want the whole game experience.
An orange is sweet, juicy
What
fruit
I usually do
locked
is
inside a bitter peel.
which kind of bites me.
That's not how I feel about a
Vault
challenge.
off of it.
I only want the
Have the
bitterness.
thumb, like I
It's
did
coffee.
successfully there.
It's grapefruit.
But
It's
that's
licorice.
a very risky strategy. You could fall the way down to Orange Hell that way. Just pull yourself up here, and you passed Orange Hell.
It feels like we're closer now. Composer and climber, designer and user. You could have refused, but you didn't. There was something in you that was hidden, that chose to continue.
Now this part. This, in my opinion, is the hardest jump in the game. This is the only one I usually have to do multiple times. But what you're gonna want to do, I've heard some people just going on this rock here and just jumping up that way, but I don't really like to do that because you only do it successfully about every like 30 tries. But if you do it this way, just grabbing the edge of this rock here, then jumping up, you can pretty much do it every time.
It means a lot to me that you've come this far, endured this much. Every wisecrack, every insensitivity, every setback you've forgiven me is a kingly gift that you've given me. We have the same taste, you and I. It's not ambition. It's ambition's opposite. An obdurate mission to taste defeat. You'll feel bad if you win, so I put this snake in for you.
You do not want to ride that snake.
Whoop. 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 Whoop.
Might be here a while. Sorry, guys.
Whoop.
Close.
Whoop. Whoop. Oh. Whoop. Oh. Whoop.
Just put yourself right at the edge of this ledge here. Go off, and works about half the time.
Whoop. 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 This gets more frightening each time you return. Knuckles whitening, stomach tightening. Once bitten, so many times burned. Whoop. Ah.
Okay, now we're at the glacier. Try to find the little holes, like this.
What?
Probably beyond this part the longest of any segment. Man, you're gonna fall down a lot here.
What?
Have you thought about who you are in this? Are you the man in the pot, Diogenes? Are you his hand? Are you the top of his hammer? I think not. Where your hand moves, the hammer may not follow,
Essential.
nor the man, nor the man's hand. In this you're his will, his intent, the embodied resolve in his uphill ascent.
Stinks. It's only happened to me a handful of times.
The first time you got here, you thought you were safe. A base camp for reaching the summit. That's how it seemed on its face the first time, but your face can fall fast when you plummet.
Sorry, guys. Not really used to this part yet. Only been up here 5 times. I spent like probably close to 4 hours mastering the orange hell segment. And you're at the tower. That's a sigh of relief that I was never getting up here.
What?
Now this part could take me 10 to 20
Now,
minutes. Now,
you've conquered the ice cliff, the platforms, the church,
other times
and the
after a
rectory,
couple seconds.
the living room and the factory, the playground, the construction site, the granite rocks, and the lakeside. You've learned to hike. There's no way left to go but up, and in a moment I'll shut up. But let me say, I'm glad you came.
What? No.
Don't worry about falling here. It'll gravitate you.
I dedicate this game to you, the one who came this far. I give it to you with all my love.
Ah.
Sometimes I struggle with this part. There you go. Getting over it with Bennett Foddy. 20 minutes. Not bad.